Schneider! Oh, he's going in for!
Down! Al 20esimo, Balotelli, Mario Balotelli.
Coleman, a little dink into the middle. Hula! Yeah! Oh, what about that? What about that? And a shot! Super strike! It is simply unbelievable. Turkey have won.
Panenka! Oh, it's genius! It is going to Rome.
No, let it play, Will. Turn it up a bit, actually. Turn it up. Keep the music going. You keep cutting me off these Euros. Keep it going. Pump it louder. Get the whip the drums to come in. Here comes the drums.
From the top.
Oh God! It's
good.
sad. It is that we're so relieved about this. Watching Spain in that final is as close as we got this tournament to watching Ireland in a final. But I mean, to be fair, and we'll get into it later on of all the things we called incorrectly.
Oh yeah.
One of the things we called correctly was how the fans and the media would react if they won. We got a little bit of a snippet, a little bit of a taste of what was happening before the tournament when they're getting a little bit ahead of themselves as to, I think we're going to win this. And you know what? I think it's our God-given right to win this.
Entitled.
Yeah, the word entitled was actually used. It's not just a feeling that I have. Everybody from Jamie Carragher to Jeff Stelling were saying, Jamie Carragher was going through it on some Sky News show. They do
Zoom call.
some amount of stuff. You know what I mean? And I don't blame COVID for this, but I think it's much more acceptable just put a Zoom call on TV and say, yeah, it's an interview. It's like, no, it's low effort. It's bad quality.
Sky News couldn't afford to send him out a mic. We have mics.
Yeah, but during this Zoom call, Jamie Carragher was going through the final, and she asked I don't know who it was, Kelly Cates, I think it was. Anyways, maybe we should play the clip, should we?
Yeah, we'll let him speak for himself, yeah.
It's just so hard to hear, it's worse than our audio quality.
It's an interesting, isn't it? There's so many kind of like Premier League players in there going up against each other, none more so perhaps than Bukayo Saka and Cucurella. I mean, Cucurella has lit up the Euros, hasn't he? And he hasn't been able to do that for Chelsea. How do you see that battle going today?
Well, listen, I think Saka can have him on toast. I don't worry about that. I've seen that so often in the Premier League. I mean,
now to be fair, before this tour, I think last episode we were kind of debating of it. Who was better? Is Cucurella up for him? Him versus Chelsea, him versus their battles in the past. But given how the tournament has gone,
yeah,
how Saka by rights probably should be dropped before he scored that great goal, and Cucurella has been unbelievable. To say, yeah, he'll have him on toast, not worried about that. It's like, maybe you should be worried about that because he hasn't played well this tournament, But you could just see they're getting ahead of themselves. They're doing the matchups like, yeah, better than him, better than him, better than him. Oh my God, it's coming home. It's coming home.
To have we even said last week, we mentioned that, they're like, they've played against each other in the Prem. And you said, yeah, but he's playing for Spain now. He's not playing for Brighton. It's a different thing. Carragher didn't even consider that. They're like, nope, seen him before. He's bad. Not worried about it.
Yeah. And to be fair, I think most of before this tournament would have probably thought Grimaldo was going to play because he had such a good game for a year for Leverkusen, and Cucurella was kind of in and out.
Yep.
For Chelsea. I mean, Cucurella wasn't starting for Chelsea when Ben Chilwell was fit. Ben Chilwell not deemed good enough to go to on an England side, also in the final, who didn't have a fit left back. So by that, metric of Premier League logic, he was like, surely he's not any good. He can't be any good. It wouldn't make any sense if he was. But yeah, he had a pretty good game, I think, Cucurella
did.
On Saka. The other one, they were saying Jeff Stelling. He was talking, again, he's a podcast, doesn't he? It's like
him and Merson, apparently. Honestly, there is a new one every day.
Yeah. Any combination of those Super Six guys, be it on the TP Type podcast, be it on... What is their podcast called? We should probably give them a shout out if we're going to make fun of them.
I'll tell you now. I think it's called The Football Great.
Yeah, it's something very... it was one of the first names that came up with for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I tell you, we say it every time, but how many of these ex-footballers and brand agencies and stuff are raging that we got no nonsense podcast before them?
And they can't take it from us, It just wouldn't be.
They can't. We have football in the name.
It wouldn't be fair. They couldn't just take the name. It's that good a name, but they can't take it.
I look at Spain. They've got a 16-year-old schoolboy playing on one wing. They've got a centre half who plays his football in Saudi. They have a striker in Morata who was seen as not good enough for Chelsea. They've got a fullback in Cucurella who's barely started half of the games he could have started for Chelsea. They got on the bench, probably, Joselu, Ayose Perez, a 38-year-old in Navas. Surely with our squad, we are entitled to beat the Spanish.
You're missing one thing. They're a team. You look at France, just a lorry load of individuals. This is a team. And this is why they are where they are. And that's why England are where they are. A bit of luck, but they're a team. We're hard to score against. And this is what it is.
If we
got beat by these, it wouldn't be a shock.
Would it not?
Oh, no. I don't.
Do you genuinely believe we go in as underdogs?
Yeah, they were. I mean, to be fair to Jeff Stilling, I give him the benefit of the doubt here. He was doing the devil's advocate here. He was saying what people were probably thinking. It's like, we're better than them, aren't we, Merce? Tell me why we're not. And I guess Merce disagreed and was the voice of reason. So maybe that's just a pro doing his work. But even still, the fact that he feels this reflects what people think is telling.
And he does also interrupt Merson at one stage. He's like, "What? You think they're better?" So you can tell
there's a bit of it too.
From his tone, this is his thought.
I mean, it was the same as when Germany played them. England also were kind of wary of the strength they had in midfield. I think Foden was kind of like man marking Rodri a little bit. He was kind of on him a lot. Do you know what I mean? I didn't think it was as free flowing as been other games. Not that Foden has played that well, but I mean, Spain were clearly better than them before the game started, and they owned the ball at the start as well. Didn't give a lot going forward though. Didn't have a lot of shots on target. I'm saying,
Yeah.
And I did kind of fear. How did you feel that first half was going? Because I was like, this is exactly how I thought it might go. That Spain will control the possession, but England just have to hang in there. They'll bring on the subs, and that's how they're going to win it. I thought that was how it was going to go in that first half.
Yeah, it was a worrying sight. I think the longer it went, you knew that England will score in this game.
Yeah.
They're not going to go goalless. And even if Spain score first, then it's like, then England get a goal the 80th minute, and then the momentum's shifted, and that's bad news all around. But yeah, geez, we got away with it. But yeah, the first half, it was looking like they're playing into England's hands here of, let's not throw the whole fucking team at it. Let's cautious play. England love being cautious. That's their whole bag at the moment.
Yeah, they're waiting, I guess, for I felt like kind of a breakaway or something, like for Spain to give a loose pass, something like that. Like Yamal had the first few attacks he made down that side on Shaw, he did pretty well as Shaw did. And then we were watching the pub, and it was on BBC. It was definitely a dodgy box because it froze at one point as well. Like this pub is using a dodgy box. It's very annoying. So I watched on BBC and they're like, that's it, Shaw, get stuck in. And she was like getting out of his seat, God, that's it, get stuck in, like this is very this is how they're going to play, you know what I mean? Like, and they've all kind of accepted like you're going to have to kind of put them off their game and stop them scoring. It wasn't like England were having their own attacks. It was like we're just going to try and defend, stay in the game, bring on Cole Palmer, and that's going to be it. And it was working for the first half, and then I guess when the second half started, they made that one kind of mistake. Yamal was in, and it was like, Yamal to Nico Williams, like, well, that's exactly what you would have said. We can't let them do. That's the two danger men have got the ball and scored the goal.
Yeah, 100% going into that game. I'd say even walking out of the tunnel, Southgate probably ran back down into the tunnel, and he put his hand on Walker's shoulder. He said, "Again, really important you don't leave Nico in his mind. I'm going to need you to not leave him unmarked. I know you're not going to, but just again, really important."
Yeah. But England got kind of, I guess that's how they've done every round of this tournament. They've gone behind. So it wasn't like, oh no, this is not the game plan. Not the game plan per se, but not like a million miles away from what they thought might happen. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
We're going to try to stay in the game, which stay in the game is like one goal behind is still in the game for us because we know we can come back. We can bring on the subs. Before the game, everyone was saying he should drop Harry Kane, start Watkins. After the game, you look back and you go, yeah, he probably should have started Watkins and dropped Kane. But also, before the game, it was like, there's no way he's going to drop Kane and bring on Watkins. So what is that about? Everyone's saying that he's not doing anything. He doesn't look fit. We have a player who's played well every time he's come on, but we're not going to play him because it's Harry Kane. Not to be mean, but a guy who's never won anything. I mean, none of it kind of added up logically,
Yeah, and not just hasn't won anything, that is now I don't know if you've seen the records going around of 0 shots on target for Harry Kane in a final still. That's 2 Carabao Cups, a Champions League, a German Super Cup, and 2 Euros finals, where he hasn't managed to kick the ball toward the net in any of those games, which is not good.
Yeah.
And we've said before, that's like, yeah, well, different game plans. You do mark the main man out. But as time goes on, it's like, well, surely he's got by someone once.
Well, I mean, I guess the Champions League final, think of that Spurs team versus the unbelievable Liverpool side against peak Van Dijk. I mean, you know, there is some context needed as well in these things, but over time, no one's going to remember that. It's going to be like, he used to get to finals and not perform. But yeah, I mean, look, if it went differently, then it's exactly how it went to work out. You know, we stay in the game, and Harry Kane did his job the first half, you know. And now when they lose, you look back and go, Harry Kane didn't do anything and we lost. So I think that was always, I said that the gap between the, you know, player for player wasn't that big in some cases. And in other cases, maybe the English players are better than the Spanish players, player for player. All they need to do is stay in the game. They'll bring on Watkins and Palmer, and that's how they were going to win it. And in alternate reality, they have won it. You know,
congratulations,
congratulations, alternate reality England who won it. But I mean, that was the game plan. They did it almost exactly how they would have thought it was going to play out. Just that almost head off the line was probably the difference. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what they were going to do before, and everyone knew this is how it was going to play out if they were going to win. They weren't going to blow them away because they're not good enough. Although there's a debate if they played within themselves this whole tournament.
I mean, yeah. You were watching on BBC, so you had a totally different perspective. I was watching on RTE, and after the game, they slammed England. Didi Hammond, Sadler, Shea Given, they gave it to them. I'll play some clips here now.
No, I mean, Bellingham obviously had an unbelievable season with Real Madrid, isn't he? A club form, but we've seen probably one bit of magic was the overhead kick against Slovakia. That's a brilliant goal, but individually, that's about it. He's done the whole thing. Kane doesn't look himself at all. I mean, when Southgate picked the squad for this tournament, you thought, do you know what, he's left Maddison at home, he's left Grealish, he's left Maguire. I know he's an injury risk, but he's actually brought in these younger players, and you know what, he might freshen it all up, he might give them the opportunity to play. But maybe by leaving the likes of Grealish at home and Maddison, he's like thinking, well, they're not going to upset me, these young players on the bench. They'll be happy enough to sit there where I can play the likes of Kane and Bellingham and not upset the apple cart.
Wow. Schoolboys, easier to control.
Yeah. Richie Sadler said after the game, he said, look, at 5-8 today in England, I guarantee you there were talks of, should we knight him? Should he be Sir Gareth after tonight? And he said, now, 10:05, I guarantee you, they're asking, should we get rid of him? Should he go?
Well, yeah, well, that's the way it's gone. Because we said this last episode where it's like, for the casual, not rewatching the games, it's like, this is great. We're getting another final. For the ones actually watching the performances saying, we could be doing better here, and we have an easy side of the draw. Yeah. So it was always on that edge. Like, if you win, it's all good. But I mean, there's definitely a chance here where it's like, we are going to shoot ourselves in the foot. Well, Gareth Southgate is going to shoot England in the foot more precisely. And
we played a clip from a few weeks ago where he said, Didi Hammond must be listening to the podcast. Yeah, you know, he hates Lukaku just like us. He's definitely been listening to the podcast, because here's his quotes about England's whole tournament. He said, the football was atrocious. Out of the 10 worst games in the tournament, England were responsible for 7 of them. With Kane, why is he not moving? I do not know. They've been behind in every knockout game. If you had played Ollie Watkins, Palmer comes on. Now imagine if this team goes ahead in one of their games. Every game, if they go ahead, they have Foden, Eze, you bring Gordon on. Yeah. They won't be pegged back. They have the ultimate pace. They never had the chance to show it because Southgate insisted on starting Bellingham and Kane, who didn't perform and never gave this team a chance to go ahead. He picked these players.
I'd be inclined to agree, you know, and I think... Yeah. Okay, obviously, you know, we're proud Irish men, and this is a proud Irish podcast. So obviously, we watch a lot of Premier League, as do a lot of other proud Irish men who watch football. They watch English players and they know everything about them. So I'm disappointed that England played so badly, because we watched all the games because we had to for the podcast, because like that's the games we want to know about. So for like 90 plus 6 minutes, you're watching it going, this is such a waste of my life. And then they get a goal last minute and they go, so they are good. They're just like, there's a good team in it, and they got to the final. It's like, and you know, if I had to watch the games anyways, it would be nice to watch them like destroy a few teams along the way, which they could have. So I mean, obviously for England, they'd be looking at that saying, yeah, you got the balance wrong from the start. You fell into this kind of 2 number 10s midfield. But I mean, yeah, the Watkins thing, he had probably 2 chances to play him. He could have started in the semi-final after the Kane's performances, and then after the semi-final, there was a second chance. Okay, now you really have to play Watkins. He didn't do it. He went for this, like, we'll just stay in the game, and then we'll bring on these super subs, and that'll be how we do it. But it's a lot of it's psychological too. I mean, Spain were not worried about England whatsoever. Do you know what I mean? Because they saw them come through the weaker side of the draw, struggle over these teams, last minute winners, just moments of fate and magic getting through. Whereas if they had been like destroying these teams, were like, you know, really good passes of play and movement and stuff like that, then they'd be like, oh, maybe we should have a plan for Foden. Maybe we should have a plan for Watkins because he's really good. Who's going to mark him? Whereas when they're watching it, they're like, I think we'll probably just dominate the ball and get the ball to Nico Williams. Didn't have to worry about us, you know? And as I said, I was watching it on BBC, and when Kane eventually was hauled off at 60 minutes, Shearer was just giving it to him. He was like, oh yeah, finally, the Spain defenders have had it too easy for too long. You know, he needed to be run at. So like, everyone was taught it beforehand, but everyone was like just hoping that they would get over the line. But there was definitely a better team in this England squad, but I think it was honestly in all seriousness, I think it was Bellingham's aura. They had to give him the team. They were like, well, we have to get the best out of him because he's like this unbelievable best player. We need him to be the central focal point of the whole thing. When really, if you played him a bit further back, he still could have been effective. And then the combined usefulness of, say, having Foden and Saka and I still say Cole Palmer or Eze, to be honest, on that side. You know, getting the best out of all of them would give you more than the best out of Bellingham. I think they did get the best out of Bellingham because he got the goals, he had the big moments, but it was enough. But you've had all these players that you had to worry about. And then the bench coming off. Like, this is the thing, there was a good team in it, and they played within themselves. And it was just, yeah, it's one they left behind, genuinely. You know, like, Spain are very good, but I think if they had built up a head of steam coming in to the final, it would have given Spain things to worry about. They would have had their own kind of style of play, a bit more comfortable. I mean, the team changed a lot. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, they didn't really have a chance. But again, in an alternate reality, they had the players there. And obviously the players that didn't bring the tournament as well is another thing. Now you get into ifs and buts and, oh, well, if he had been there, and you don't know. Now you're just kind of guesswork. But the team that was there could have played better. That's all we know for sure. Because when they came on every time, Palmer, again, with the unbelievable goal, he must be thinking, what do I have to do here?
Yeah.
Do you know, every time he's come on, he's been better than Saka.
And I mean, I don't know if you spotted this, that Southgate, he kind of showed his hand a bit near the end of the game. So he had subs ready to come on. And Spain scored just as the subs were on the side of the pitch. So he had to change it then. And he brought Ivan Toney on. He's like, come on, we get a goal. Before the Spain goal, he was bringing on Gallagher and Trippier. Obviously with the mindset of, right, let's see this out to penalties. It's like, Jesus Christ. Go for it. Yeah. Get Tony on. Like, all these players you have can score right now. Why are you playing like you're the underdogs here?
It's a team, it's a squad that other teams like Germany and France, when they played Spain, if they'd had those players on the bench, you know, they would have been like, they play a completely different way. So they had to play a bit more conservatively and try and kick Spain off because they didn't have the kind of weapons that England had. So England were kind of like, oh, we should play like them. Like, you have, honestly, not to be all like England had the best squad, but like the subs they had on the bench were better than most other teams. Like, the pace they had in like that we didn't see from Palmer, or Eze or Gordon. Like, just, it was never used. You know, all these things were never used, and it was like Trippier's a safer option there. I know Trippier; he's been with me since 2018. He was the kind of that's another criticism of Southgate. The loyalty he has to some players as well over like players who are better or more in form. I mean, I think he's completely lost on himself this tournament with you know what he was even trying to achieve. You know, it was like I think the Maguire thing fucked up a bit as well. Having to leave out Maguire and having to leave out Phillips. You know, he was like, okay, that's what I don't want to do. And then I don't know. It's just the whole thing. I don't know why he's trying to achieve this whole tournament because he said he's going to leave afterwards. So then just do what you want. But I feel he's always playing to the media a little bit, you know.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see now where they go with Southgate. He was asked after the game and he said, it's too soon for me to decide whether I'm staying or going or whatever. But like you said, he was thinking of leaving coming into it. And you do think it would rub him the wrong way finishing up this tournament. And the first thing he sees is every single media guy fucking calling for his head. Shoot him, kill him. He's ruined it again, they said. When a week ago they love him. And like that must wreck your head. All he's done for them now.
Yeah.
And it's like they don't actually care. They're just like, you've left this one behind. And the fact that they're there at all totally gets forgotten about.
Yeah. Well, people have short memories, you know. So no, I think this whole they get so bad, but they can hype it up like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think to get the full picture of it, this whole, you can go back further, I guess, but if you go back to 2008, 07, 08, like peak Barclays, you know, this is when Lampard and Gerrard and Terry all in their prime. It should have been like the goal generations, like, okay, now we're going to win this one. They didn't qualify for the tournament. They didn't qualify for the Euros in 2008. Yeah. Steve McLaren with the umbrella, all that stuff. You know, all right, we got to go a different direction here. We need a disciplinarian here. The Brian Capello, and I was boring on the pitches. They were bored off us. And they go out to the Germany goal generation that was then coming. I think that was kind of the end of that goal generation. And from there, it was kind of like a slow slide. Like 2012, they had injuries, and it was like every tournament was like the last one for Gerrard, the last one for Rooney. I mean, 2016 was like, well, 2014 was like bottom of the group in the World Cup. Like, okay, this is bad. It can't get any worse than this. And then they got knocked out by Iceland in the Euros in 2016. It's like, okay, actually, it can get worse than this. To the point where they sacked Hodgins. And like, well, what now? Like, this is a terrible team with no young players coming through. Give it to the under-21 manager, whoever that is, and maybe they can sort it out, which happened to be Southgate. 2018 was this like crazy bull from the blue. And, you know, the outcome was coming home, started again. And everyone's like, oh, why is everyone so happy that we didn't win it? You know, we've been bad for so long. And then they had the Euros, and there was like peak kind of euphoria about they're going to win the tournament. But like, they go so quickly from like, it was at the you know, getting knocked down the groups, not qualifying from tournaments, like a couple of tournaments then, they're back to like, we should win this. I think we're the best team in the tournament now. Yeah. So yeah, it's okay. Shouldn't really be surprised that they're like ready to throw them out, because they're like this for everything. They can go from, you know, we need to reevaluate the entire footballing structure in the country to we are entitled to win this by the sheer fact that we're English. We should win this one. So he knows better than anybody how mercurial the whole thing is. So I don't know. I think he'll probably leave after this. The real question is, what's he do afterwards? You know, does anybody want this manager at their club to play boring stuff?
I mean, it's mad. Do you think before this tournament how much talk there was of maybe it's Man United? Maybe that's where they're going to take him. I was like, Jesus, that would be terrible.
What about Southgate and his credentials? Had you heard of De La Fuente before the tournament? No, definitely not. Not us casuals. No way. I had not heard of him.
No way. You joking me?
Apparently, this is the third Euros he's won. He won under 15s, under 21s, and then this one, of course, as well. So a lot of those Spain players he worked with, Dani Olmo and the likes, I think they won in 2015 or something like that. But yeah, he's a hot new prospect.
I mean, surely they'll obviously go for the World Cup next.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if you saw the interview with Rodri after the game where he was asked about it. He's like, we've been working away in silence for years. Like, didn't always get the results, but it's like, this was always the thing. Like, this was the dream and the plan. And he summed it up very well. He said Spain, he was asked, what's the secret? You know, how did you win this tournament? Well, obviously the answer is they're really good. But he said, we attack like a big team and we defend like a small team.
Oh, that's good.
That is good, isn't it?
They got some cold lines, the Spanish side.
Everyone is so media trained now. Again, Lamine Yamal is like doing 2-part like setup and then punchline slams of other players on social media.
Yeah, I do like the idea of a reporter coming and asking Rodri questions like, Rodri, what's happening? What's going on? Who won the game? What sport is this? How did you win the game? You know, it's like, how did you win the game? Weren't you watching the whole tournament? Yeah, I think this Spain team, I mean, where do you think they rank in terms of the other Euro teams they've won? You know, this is the 4th European Championships they've won, record.
Yep.
They've won every single game in the tournament, first time that's ever been done. Usually there's a draw in there in the third group game,
Yeah.
But they won every one. Are they better than the 2012 or 2008 teams?
I mean, it feels mad. Like, in my brain, I'm saying, like, no, they could possibly be. They had players I know.
Yeah, well, that's it. Because I mean, before this tournament, I genuinely, I think I would say the last episode, I thought Danny Almo was one fight. So that's how much I knew about him. I did not think Cucurella was going to play. I thought it was going to be Grimaldo, another player who I don't watch at all. I was like, yeah, Grimaldo's probably better than Cucurella. So, and then Fabian Ruiz, who I knew in passing, but not really at all. Nico Williams hadn't a fucking clue that he was that good. Dear God.
He was amazing. I mean, even in the final, because I thought, like, going in, it's like, wow, what a tournament for Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams. But I was like, but they're teenagers. Like, this will probably be a big occasion for them. I'm sure they'll have a good game. They were fucking unbelievable. They were unplayable. Like, they're next level talent.
The cutting edge that they brought, and everyone, that thing as well, like by the quarterfinals, we'll say, everyone knew about them.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, whoa, I can't believe they brought on this play. Like when Danny Almo came on and had that great game, that was maybe a bit of a surprise for the Germans. But like for the French and for the English, they knew about the danger players and they still performed, which is always a sign of like, right, like there's no excuse now that they got caught off guard. They were targeted before they came in. They still produced. And I think this is maybe what the 2012 team lacked, was this kind of direct running and cutting edge. Because by then Torres had kind of just fallen off a cliff and David was injured for that tournament. I think they started with Fabregas up front in like a false nine. And they managed to just like triangle their way into the goal, is how they used to score the goals. And then until they played us, I think Torres scored a banger against us. But anybody decent, in that 2012 tournament, it was very kind of slow and intentional. But this kind of direct running, I don't know, I think it'd be interesting to watch this Spain team play against the 2012 Spain team because two opposing styles,
There was a great moment that showed how good Nico Williams was. He was running down the line. Walker was chasing him. And Nico Williams just stopped dead, did a step over, turned around and passed back. And Walker kept running. And then he slowed down and he threw his hands in the air because he was like, I just can't. I can't keep up with him. He keeps tricking me.
Yeah. Well, if he has Walker pace, I mean, that's half the battle because that's Walker's biggest strength. So, I mean, he was always going to be in a bit of trouble. But yeah, I don't know. I think they probably won't get the same credit as the other Spain team. Maybe because they came out from nowhere. Obviously,
I think so.
The previous Spain team had been decent in 2006 in the World Cup, but they were young, and then by 2008, obviously they won it. 2010, they'd built up to 2012. They're like, okay, everyone is aware of these great players and the squad they had. Whereas this Spain team, for some people will, no one gave them a chance.
Yeah. Certain football podcasts didn't rate them coming in.
Yeah. I mean, this is, we were saying it for the pod, like, thank God. This is why the racists and the homophobes get caught out, because you say stuff on podcasts and it just goes out your head. Do you know what I mean? So if you do have that kind of leaning, it'll come out. Your silly opinions will come out. Hopefully they're not hateful, because if they are, you're screwed. This time we're going to do it to ourselves. We did a preview episode, like we do every tournament, of just a quick rundown of the teams after I read the Guardian article that comes out every year. And I regurgitate those facts with a little bit of my own spices, a little bit of pizzazz thrown in there as well. I had a little bit of stank to it as well, put my own little spin in it. Here's me talking about Spain pre-tournament. I mean, they have a long history of grinding things out. So I'm probably going to put them come second in this group. I think Italy are going to come first. I think Spain are going to come third, badly again. I watched Spain against Brazil a few months ago, and it was a brutal game, and they couldn't score. And Alvaro Morata is captain of this team for some reason.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm not like as much of a Morata hater as most, but I'd never think of him as like a leader of...
No, he's captain. Rodri is pretty good player, pretty invincible player himself. The defense is actually their strongest position, I would say. They're still going with Laporte. They're also bringing back a Saudi champion, Grimaldo from what's it called, Leverkusen, Carvajal, Nacho, and then Rodri in front of them. The attacking is where it falls out a little bit. They'll probably play Yamal at only 16, Maybe Danny
Yes.
Olmo as well. Pedri and Rodri. And they're solid. Like, they're solid. It's the tackling is where they fall down. Remember watching the World Cup? Was it Japan? It was the worst fucking game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Oh God, they just couldn't get an attacking motion going. You know, it was
Yeah.
just terrible to watch. So yeah, I'm not expecting to do anything exciting, impressive, or victorious. To be honest, I always like to see them go out in the groups. Yeah, exciting, impressive, or victorious. I mean, that is
The fact that you said that. When have you ever said a sentence like that before in your life?
See, this is me like you kind of trailing off. Like, I better wrap this up. I'll just throw in some adjectives here. My favorite bit is the reference to Yamal. Yeah, he's no good.
Only a child, 16. What can he do?
I said Yamal. He's only 16. How good can he be? It's like if you were to write it now, this is the kind of stuff you'd say to kind of foreshadow. You know?
Yeah. The problem with Spain is they can't attack.
Yeah.
And you weren't the only one in that clip as well. I think I hammered home that, like, I don't see Morata as a leader of men. And we both literally are laughing at Morata in that clip. Ha ha ha, he's the captain. And then during the final last night, there was a stage, it was after he was subbed. And when he's going off the pitch, he's handing the band over, he goes to every single Spanish player and he like grabs them by the head and he's like, stay focused, you'll lock in and all this. And then Kane had been subbed a few minutes before that. And he sadly walked over to Walker. He like handed him the band, didn't look him in the eyes, and he walked straight to the dugout, head in his hand. It's like, my God, Morata is the leader of men here. He's the real captain on the pitch.
Yeah, I was probably a bit harsh on Morata. I think the difference between Morata and Kane is that Morata doesn't have the ego that Kane has. And that's had negative connotations. But like Kane has come off like being top scorer in Germany, scored goals every year, you know, and now he can't kick a ball, be it because he's injured or he's being marked out or the ball isn't coming to him, he doesn't have runners, whatever the reason is, he's thinking, I know I can score goals and I can't do it. Morata's thinking,
we're winning.
We're winning, and I'm not a 20 plus goal scorer guy. You know, if I can hold the ball up and be the reference point and give the ball to the young lads, that's my job done. So when he had that, and he played well. You know, he wasn't like the anywhere near the golden boot or anything like that. But he knew that he had done his job, so he was a lot more happier with his contribution, which was in essence the same as Kane's. Yeah, but in terms of goals and assists, but he felt he'd done more. So I think that's maybe the difference where he's having a great game and he's like, I'm leading from the front, I'm facilitating for the guys who can score. Whereas Kane's thinking, I should be the one scoring. People need me to score. I'm the hope. And he's thinking, you know, if Morata was there and they had Ollie Watkins on the bench for Spain, he'd be a bit more kind of under pressure. Do you know what I mean? So like Kane's are not scoring. He's looking at like Tony. You know, you got two better strikers on the bench. You're not scored. It's hard to be like, come on, let's do it. Or everyone's looking at you like, I can't wait for him to go off and Ollie Watkins go on. You know, so it's a little different. But yeah, I was probably a bit harsh on Morata. But he had a pretty good tournament. He did score a goal as well against Croatia. Led the team well. Survived a hard tackle from his own security.
Yeah, look, he lifted the trophy at the end of it all. It was mad.
He lifts the trophy.
I mean, that is the thing going in. It's like, yes, Morata lifts the trophy, just as we all expected coming into the Euro.
Yeah. I don't know why he was so harsh on Spain. But no, I do. Because as I said in the clip, it's that game against Brazil. And I said, fuck, I'm going to go back and watch that highlights that game again. What was I looking at in that? You can look it up. It happened in March. And I was like, maybe they weren't playing the same team. Maybe it was a different team. It was the exact team. Cucurella left back and all. Yamal, Nico Williams, Olmo playing instead of Pedri. It was the exact same team. And Olmo scored an unbelievable goal. He went by three players and put it in the top corner. I was like, yeah, I've never even heard of Danny Olmo. I think his name's Juan Foyth, actually. And this is
I think they're wrong. I think they have the wrong name down there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Juan Foyth was playing for Spain, even though he's Argentinian. It's very strange. So he had an unbelievable game. Yamal had a savage game. But what did me in, Will, is that they gave away two really bad goals, Spain did. Yunus Simeone kicked it straight to Rodrigo for Brazil, and he just, lobbed the keeper. And then the other one, Endrick came on, scored a goal. Very similar to I guess, England. When it was Kane up front, it was grand. They were easy to defend. Then 18-year-old Endrick comes on and had been all sorts of trouble. Had Noran and Laporte in all sorts of trouble. Carvajal grabbed Endrick's leg and pulled him over in the box, gave it a penalty. Shocking defensive stuff. I was like, these aren't winning anything. you know, and Yamal in second half completely got played out of it. So, I mean, I can see why I thought that now, half watching a game while looking at my phone, like, Spain aren't any good, you know?
Boring.
But when I look back now, I'm like, actually, that Yamal kid is pretty good. And Olmo, wow, this guy's really good, you know? So I wasn't watching very carefully, and I don't know that about football. You can't forget that, you know?
That's the key takeaway. You should, if you don't know by now, like, I do like the idea of someone parroting our opinions to people like we would probably do with other football podcasts and just constantly being wrong.
Oh, that would be funny.
There's someone, I love to think the idea there's someone in a pub on the first day of the Euros or like during Spain's first games, like, nah, I won't do that. And it's the attack that lets them down, you see. And then they just hammer whoever they're playing.
That Yamal is only 16, you know. He's not any good, you know. Oh, God love that person who's parroting our opinions, which is basically a dumbed down version of the Guardian article before the Euros.
It's the trickle down football podcast economy.
Yeah, that's the end of my streak now of predicting international competition winners. Yeah, I got that one really wrong. I think I said Germany was going to win it, and
which not too bad. I mean, they were unlucky to go up against Spain.
It's a pass-fail test, though. They didn't win it, Will. You know, I got it wrong.
Well, I said France were definitely going to win just because they were France.
Yeah. No Pogba, no party, though. That's the thing. Yeah. So you should have known that, Will. And you know Pogba better than anybody. You know,
I know, we go way back.
So, yeah, I mean, great for the Spain team. The Copa America obviously wrapped up this weekend as well. I
mean, we were watching the wrong tournament for sure. Every clip I've seen of the Copa has been fucking crazy.
It's been mental, but I don't think there's been a lot of quality on show.
Yeah.
You know, I think this Spain team, if they're looking over there, I know they played the finalisme, which is the Copa champions versus the European champions, which is Argentina, of course, for anybody who missed that. So Messi versus Yamal, generations collide. The Rock versus John Cena, pretty much. Never before, never again. So, yeah, I mean, if I was Spain, I'd be looking over there thinking, we could have a good run at the World Cup, you know?
Yeah, I think so. It'll be interesting to see how that World Cup goes, as we've seen nothing but immense crowd trouble at the Copa, including last night. Apparently the game was delayed by like an hour because they had their own attack on Wembley situation where all the Colombian fans were like, fuck it, I'm just going to the game. I don't actually care whether I have a ticket or not.
Tickets are just a concept, man.
Yeah.
You know? Who decides if we have tickets or not? You know, it's a free country, I think.
If you haven't seen it, there's some amazing clips of, it's the exact same as the Wembley ones, all the people rushing in and running and some people walking. Yeah. But it's different because obviously in England, the security guards couldn't do much. Like maybe they tried to grab a few people, but where this match was on, security guards, they just randomly pick. They're like, all right, this guy. And they chase him down and they kick the shit out of him. And they go, okay, this guy over there, they run over there. They're picking them out. They're like, well, we have to get some of them. But the World Cup obviously is on in America, South America, and Canada next year. So, that'll be fun.
Mexico, isn't it?
Mexico, apologies, yeah.
Yeah, just over the borders there. Just a quick little drive down from Canada to Mexico for the second ground group game. Insanity, to be honest.
So players are going to literally drop dead during that tournament. They can't. There's going to already be more games going into it. And now it's like, all right, you have to fly halfway across the fucking world, essentially.
Like in my brief time in Mexico, I'll say this, Will, big country.
Yeah, big place, I would say.
It was only Mexico, like, well, this is going to be a vast World Cup. There's a lot of travel. You throw in the USA and then Canada as well.
It's the bottom of Mexico to the top of Canada is in the one tournament. It goes from snow to like sun.
Yeah, incredible planning there from UEFA. But I mean, I guess, no, from FIFA, I should say. I don't know if it's FIFA or UEFA for this yours who was in charge of the crowd trouble. Maybe someone there will listen to our podcast. They had a moat of men separating the crowd and the pitch.
Darren Maloney on RT, he obviously was half reading his notes, and he said, I think they've established some kind of moat to stop the protesters.
Yeah, that's good. I like the a moat of men. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no selfies, no one interrupting the pitch. No one run on to get a selfie with Lamine Yamal. Which maybe is he probably the biggest star on the pitch? Maybe Bellingham, I suppose.
Bellingham, yeah. Yeah, like Rodri's probably the best player and like the biggest name, I would say, but not the biggest star. He doesn't have the charisma. Again, pure Man City player. No aura, even though he's amazing.
I feel like if you were got on the pitch and you started running towards Rodri
You're looking, who am I going to run down?
for a selfie, he would not be impressed at all. He might even tackle you, I think. I got him. 2 foot some 16-year-old kid. He went off in the game. I thought that was a big loss, but they managed to rout him. I don't know. I think that this whole Euros has been, it was good to start. Got off to a great start.
Really good, yeah.
Maybe some tired legs in the middle section, and then the final was great.
Mm-hmm.
And not even because England lost, but just like generally it was a good game.
Exciting, yeah. It helped as well that the crowd seemed to be 80% English fans, which added to the intense atmosphere.
Yeah, I saw, speaking of the crowd, early on, Cucurella was getting booed again, probably by more Germans. I sensed, like, as a bit at this point, like, let's boo him again, because I only did it for the first, 5 minutes, I'm bored of this now, I don't want to do anymore. But he was probably thinking, okay, at least so many Germans here, and then as soon as he gets the ball, he starts getting booed again by the German crowd. It's like,
I don't know if you saw his quote about that. He was actually asked about being booed by the German fans, and he was like we joked about. He said it took him a few minutes to realize what was going on. He was like,
really?
Why me? Yeah, he didn't know why. And then he was like, oh, yeah, the penalty.
Well, did you see his post on social media?
Did I ever? This
Another
Spain team,
social media ninja.
They give it back to you, I tell you.
They keep all the receipts and they post them when it's all said and done. They only open their mouth sometimes to say checkmate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we like I said in our preview, I didn't put him down starting. I thought Grimaldo will play mainly because we watched him for Chelsea and being kind of like, decent, but I don't know if he's going to start ahead of somebody who's won the league in Germany. Surely that counts something. But as we've seen there, he's been kind of stick with the same team. De La Fuente, he's got a style player who knows he's going to play. Maybe you should take notes on that card, Southgate. Maybe you get an idea of how you want to play. I just hope it kind of emerges on the pitch. But I mean, I guess like us, Gary Neville and Gary Lineker and all the Garys, all the Premier League Garys are watching through that kind of Premier League eye. So when they see Cucurella starting and playing, they're kind of, whoa, this team mustn't be good at all because he doesn't play well in our league, So he posted on his story some quote from Gary Neville saying the reason I don't think Spain will do well is because Cucurella is starting, which is a pretty mean thing to say, to single someone out with that.
Yeah, 100%. It's, again, sometimes I feel like these pundits do forget the voice they have and the influence to, you should never really be singling out the players, ever. You should say, maybe this might be why. To say, they won't win because he plays there. That's you're just asking for him to either throw this back at you or for them to lose and for him to think, that was my fault. The media said so.
It could have been us, Will. It could have been if Switzerland had gone all the way. It could have been Shaqiri posting that, at Cahill O'Toole. Because that's literally right. I was like, if Switzerland are any good, they wouldn't have Shaqiri playing anywhere near the team. It was cool that one goal. I think he started after that. But I guess it was just kind of an easy one to pick at. But he had a few different stories with Yamal and Nico Williams. And he was like, the no 18 sign with beer in his hand and stuff. It's like, don't worry, they're not drinking. But then stopped mid-celebration to post, oh yeah, Gary Neville, by the way, fuck you. And then back to the party,
It was amazing. There was this is the Euros for me where I think we've had a few now with TikTok and social media has really ramped up. But my God, this was just, the clips never stopped coming in this Euros. Even all the way up to 70 minutes into the game when England scored their equaliser. And famous actor Ross Kemp took to his Instagram story to cheer his boys on.
Did we say it? Bring him on! Bring him on! Go Bomber! Go Bomber! Go Bomber! Now! Finish it! Finish it!
Yeah. That's, be careful because you're talking to a Super Army soldier there. All right? He's trained in various ways to, he's an actor. Is he acting? Is that what that was? Or who's that for?
That's the thing. Is the players can't see this. The players are on the pitch. They're not hearing or seeing this.
The players on the pitch. If you have a real visceral reaction like that, you don't go for your phone.
No,
you don't grab your phone.
Was he screaming like that all the while setting up his phone to record and then just continued screaming? Or did he silently like start the phone and go, ah?
Yeah, or was it? Maybe it was a watch along, Will. Maybe it was one of the ever increasingly popular watch alongs.
Yeah.
I don't want to be too hard on watch alongs. I'm sure there's probably people listening to this podcast who had a few who've done a watch along at one point.
Yeah.
I've never done that, to be honest. I've never felt that lonely that I needed to have other people watch the games and shout and scream to make me feel like, all right, settle down, Ross. Looks like you had one too many as you're sitting your own. I mean, I don't get it. Maybe it's a live stream. I don't know, but yeah, there's been a lot of that, a lot of kind of social media stuff. It does actually remind me of that time, you know, that infamous video of Kane saying "Let's go."
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Was that NBA he was watching? What was that?
Can't remember. But it's funny because like that seems so tame now. You know what I mean? We get one of those Kane videos, like one of that type of videos, every 5 seconds from someone in football now, it feels like.
Yeah, like I guess it's the I show speed kind of thing of like who can be the most insane, you know?
Yeah.
But it's the same thing as like Harry Kane's like, here, record this. And then he's looking at the camera being, let's go, let's go. And it was just so weird, you know? That was his first attempt to break America, I'm pretty sure. Using American phrase.
He gave up swiftly after that.
Well, from there he went on to Hot Wings and you know all that stuff.
Said nothing, and then he went, right, fuck it, I'm going to Germany.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I knew for sure, that Kane was not going to have anything to say after this game. Nothing controversial. I mean, this is probably the end for him, is this?
I don't know. I mean, it didn't look good for him, but we know the way Kane can score and can play. So I'm sure he's thinking, it was a bad tournament. Maybe I'll bounce back in the next one, but I mean, after the next one, then it really is probably the end of him. Like he's as we know, he's creeping closer to death at 31 years old, is it?
Yeah, I think it's 31 this year, but I think it's more it's the generational shift, you know?
Yeah.
Harry Kane has been here since 2016. Obviously, we mentioned the Iceland loss, pretty bad way to start it off. And then you go to the current tournament where it's kind of your fault they didn't win. And your aura, you're too big to fail, couldn't take you off. Like Watkins is 29, is only like 2 years younger than him. So it's not even, but it's the way they're viewed. It's like Harry Kane is the guy who doesn't win anything.
Yeah.
Has never won anything. And then you got this Bellingham guy who's young, you got Palmer who's young, you got Watkins who's younger. It's just the image, like you're the old team. You're Jesse Lingard, you're Marcus Rashford, all these.
You're holding us back, pal.
All these guys didn't win anything. You know, you're Harry Maguire. That's what you are. You know, this is the new team. This is the Fodens, the Bellinghams. These are the guys we should be getting the best out of. You know, so, and if Southgate leaves, if you're the new manager coming in, that's how you would mark your, this is a new thing under me. Kane is dropped and I'm going to play 29-year-old Ivan Toney instead. You know, I'm going to give the young guys a chance.
It's a new dawn.
Yeah, because it's not just as a statement. You know, you'd say, I don't think I'm going to play Harry Kane. I'm not going to call him up, actually. He's not going to get called up, and that's going to be, all right, I can either retire now or I can just stop being picked. When people look back on the last few years, let's say, left Euros behind us twice, and you missed that penalty against France.
I mean, it's a cruel sport, because it's, like we've said for so many players, it's like the other record-breaking 200 and whatever 50 goals he scored. It's just like, yeah, but what about that one you missed?
Yeah,
Kane.
Yeah, that's it. You know, it's if they'd won, they'd be saying, "Oh, he deserves this. He's battled long and hard for this," but he didn't win. So now it's like, well, maybe he's the problem. You know, maybe. I mean, he won that penalty against Netherlands in semi-final.
Mm-hmm.
And in January, I think if that was Ivan Toney or Watkins, the VAR isn't worried about us. But because it was a big player like Harry Kane, like, oh, we better look at that. Oh, God, we don't want this to come back at us.
He's captain. He's the only player who's allowed to say it to the ref. That was a penalty.
Well, he was also rolling around the ground at the time, so he didn't really say anything. But I mean,
he was like, ref.
His star power got on that penalty, you know? So he did. It's you look at it on a broad strokes and go, yeah, he didn't move, didn't score, but he did help him get the final. It's just, you know, and look, you can't blame him for playing. What's he going to say to Southgate? Listen, I think you should drop me. I'm not cut out for this. He's not going to say that.
Yeah, you'd never see him again in any team if word got out that he said that.
Yeah, well, imagine if they lost, and then he goes like, yeah, well, Harry Kane came and said, drop me, put on Watkins instead. He was like, well, that's classic Kane, loser mentality, you know. So you're going to play until you stop getting picked. You're going to give it your all, whatever that is. It'll be a tough way to go out if this is how it ends for him. But I think it probably will, especially if Southgate goes. I think it's all over.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to if Southgate does go, just seeing the new circus. Who's coming in? What's going to be the new problem? Who's the new people that have to be dropped? Who's the new clamour? It's a new dawn of the circus.
Who got top scorer? Was it Kane who got top scorer, or what was the? Let me see. I'll get the Euros app. I will say the we're going to the short now. The UEFA gaming app marked improvement from 2 years ago.
Huge.
Much better app. Shout out to the UX UI designer there who maybe he's a new guy, but whoever was, really real improvement. Fair play to you.
It says the golden boot has been shared 6 ways. That can't be right.
6 golden boot winners.
Yeah, it says here. So the golden boot was shared 6 ways between Harry Kane, Dani Olmo, Musiala, Slovakia's Ivan Schranz, and George's Mikwatadze. Is that right? This was shared after UEFA determined that assists would no longer be considered a tiebreaker in the event of multiple players scoring the same number of goals. So they brought in a rule to said, if it's split down the middle, if there's multiple winners, so be it. Which I don't know why you'd want that.
So assists have been downgraded. No more respect for assists. Just shared 6 ways. Fair play to all involved. Half a team has won the golden boot. Now, of course, the Euros is over. Spain are champions, and I've gone completely the other way. I think Spain are going to win the World Cup now after this. But
it's their attack that they're actually good at.
You know what the Spain's problem is their defense. Their attack is actually quite good. The defense, when a decent strike comes on, they get a bit shaky. So yeah, look, we had fantasy football throughout this tournament as well. Fair play to everybody who took part. Some people took our advice of going with a mad captain. I don't know why I did that.
Suckers.
We went with Nico Williams. He got a goal. Should have got big names. There's no way that someone's going to score. Unless someone had Cole Palmer as captain. Maybe that was a good shout. But we finished perfectly mid-table. We finished 18 of 36 teams.
That's okay.
It's literally average. It couldn't be. It couldn't be any. Couldn't be any more average. 18 out of 36 teams in our own tournaments. And don't forget, Will, a lot of teams stopped playing after like week 1. So, in a more real sense, we're probably lower table out of the mid table. But anyways, as the stats say, we're coming 18th. We don't care about who stopped playing. Someone else who doesn't care about people stopping playing is Brobbery Rotten, the winner of this year's fantasy football with 398 points. Congratulations to Brobbery. Boys in the hood. A close second on 393 points. Who do you have as captain? Foden. No, he didn't do well, you see.
Terrible choice.
Bad
he
choice
was bad.
by him.
Bad player.
That wasn't a good captain. We actually got the most points this round, Will.
That's annoying.
Yeah, we finished strong, you know. We have the crown this week. Joint second was YZY, also on 393. Yeah, he had Yamal as captain. Good shout. Not as good as ours, Nick Williams. We got the most points this round.
Better luck next time, maybe, yeah.
Skamakapaka. He came fourth with 383. A late runner. I didn't see him throughout the tournament. And then Shuri not 3-peat. Bring up 5th place. So yeah, look, the jersey is going to Robbie Rotten. We'll be in touch, Mr. Rotten, very shortly to see what jersey you want. We'll be getting that jersey on classicfootballshirts.co.uk. That's where we're going to get, because we can get any jersey we want there. Any jersey from the yours, it's there. We're going to get it from there, and you can do the same thing. There's a link.
Very convincing pitch.
You can do the same thing.
Do you want to? Maybe if you want.
Yeah, there's a link in the description of this episode to buy any jersey you've ever thought of, essentially, on that website. Give it a look-see if you're in the market for a jersey. So yeah, congratulations. A decent tournament for us, Will. Enjoyed it. Like I said, the middle rounds are a bit tough. I think the KG last 16 draws. I think if I was UEFA, I'd look at that third place round and saying that kind of lowered it a bit, didn't it? You know, those teams who got 1 point and managed to get through, they probably shouldn't be on prime time. You know, they should probably go home after this.
That is what they should say, but I know we're coming into... I think the next World Cup is the first one where it's groups of 3 and there's like 50 teams playing at it.
They should just, if they're going to do a World Cup, just have every team in the world from now on. You know,
just get it over with.
That we know that's where you're going. We know you're just trying to like eke it up, and like maybe you had another team in. Like just do every team in a league format, and we play it all year round, nonstop, all the time.
Be sick.
That's where they're going. That's what they want.
Fiji versus Uzbekistan tomorrow. Unreal.
So yeah, I think that was the only thing with this Euros, is that the third place teams going through. Maybe that was the issue with the last 16 round, because the semi-finals and finals were great. When the good teams play each other, they were actually very good games. So yeah, if you get teams who are their only chances to park the bus and have nothing in attack, you're going to get some kind of dour games in the middle. So yeah, just a little bit heads up there, FIFA anyway. That's just some free advice, you know. And again, this isn't us being biased against weaker teams, because we are one of the weaker teams. This would be good for us.
That is literally our only hope, is being one of those third place teams. But for the greater good of us podcasters, we gotta scrap the third round. Purely
from a entertainment point of view. And again, that's probably more realistic than us getting there. It's like, well, we're not going to get there, so if we're going to watch this, we may as well have it entertaining. But yeah, I think it cranked up at the end, and it was decent. I wish we could have gone to one of the games.
Yeah, it would have been good.
Especially if it was in Germany. Probably should have gone to one of them. I mean, a lot of people went.
Hey, next Euros in Ireland, let's not forget.
Were some of the games around there, are they?
Yeah, I think there's 3 games in Ireland. I think there's 2 games in Dublin and 1 in Belfast, I think is the deal.
Yeah, because I think even if you didn't have tickets to the games, the fan zones and all the kind of party atmosphere around to be good. It's probably like a raffle thing, I'd imagine, getting these tickets. You have to put your name in.
Don't know. I saw a lot of clips of... England fans being immediately vox popped after the game, which is very funny. That like they're putting the mic in front of crying people's faces, like, what do you think? But so many of them were like, oh, I spent like 900 quid to come over here and I'm just devastated.
Yeah, but can you put a price on those memories, Will? You know?
Yeah. Well, if you lose, you're like, oh, it was 900 quid to feel the lowest I've ever felt.
Yeah, but you mean you got to fight the Spanish people on the streets. You got to fight the German people on the streets. You got to fight the Serbians on the streets. You got to fight... Who else did they get to fight in the streets?
Did you see all those videos knocking about of the England fans battering each other in the stadium?
Oh, they got to fight... The English fans got to fight the English fans as well. Yeah. I mean, look, those memories last a lifetime, you know? Yeah.
Well, hopefully, as long as it wasn't get hit in the head too hard.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you got concussed, then maybe not. But other than that about does it then, does it?
I'd say that. I'd say that's the Euros.
I'd say that's the Euros in a nutshell. England edged us the whole way. We were waiting for them to get knocked out. Is it going to be this round? But it's worth it in the end. And I think Spain, the best team with the best players who played the best football, won, which is
very
rarely what happens. Like usually there's some kind of snafu and a bad team wins, you know?
Yeah, it's very rare that justice is served. They go, yeah, that's about right. That is who I wanted to win and should have won.
So yeah, for us, I guess we have we got the club season coming back in earnest. Well, we got it in a couple of weeks, I guess. Isn't it? End of August it usually starts.
I think it's mid-August this season. We're back very soon. I saw Man United are playing a preseason game today.
Yeah, they'll all be starting off now, the preseason tours and all that. We will be covering that, I suppose. Not the preseason tours, but maybe some documentaries. Maybe I don't know. There's probably some.
Yeah.
Maybe we do the Pay documentary finally. You know?
Maybe. Yeah. It'll be really annoying if we do that though, and it gets like 1 million downloads. We're like, oh fuck, we could have done this from day one.
1 million downloads for Pele.
People love him.
Yeah. So look, we'll be doing more stuff leading up to it. There's a lot of transfer tittle-tattle going on. I don't know. Maybe there'll be more now once the tournament's finished. We'll see how it all shakes out. But thanks, I guess this is going to the Ultras first.
Yeah, that's true.
Thanks for your support throughout the Euros. It's been real.
Yeah. We're not going.
Well, no, but the Euros is over. I think a lot of people maybe subscribe for that. If you liked what you saw and stick with us, we've been doing the Premier League season coming up this year as well. So onward and upwards, Will.
Yep.
And I guess we'll be back Thursday or Friday.